Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded on January 28th, 2018, and it's titled, Back to the Basics, Part 3, affirming, I'm a conduit of the divine expression. And today we will welcome back the spirit, voice, and talent of Angel Travis, who can be found in her Artist Directory page or on Facebook, both those links available from our website. Come visit us at seasidecenter.org, and you can join us in Encinitas, California sometime on a Sunday, where we always have great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving, vibrant community that await you.
We have a returning artist this morning that I know you all love. She's come to us all the way from LA in her home church of Agape. Would you please welcome Angel Travis?
Good morning. All right. Gathered up the light and swallowed it down, wanting to give anything but a frown. Gave up my masks, I gave up my mirrors. Time to step into the truth and to face all of my fear. 'Cause with love, everything's alright. With love, we are more than meets the eye. Keep it on the light. With love, we are so divine. Now I put my faith into that moment's hand. That way I never slip down into the starry sand. And I put my faith into the moment's hand. That way I never slip down into the starry sand. Gave up illusions, I gave up all the lies. I gave up that time card to be by God's side. I gave up my fancy ways for bargaining. I gave it all up for truth, and here I will stay. 'Cause with love, everything's alright. With love, we are more than meets the eye. Keep it on the light. With love, we are so divine. Now I put my faith into that moment's hand. That way I never slip down into the starry sand. And I put my faith into that moment's hand. That way I never slip down into the sand. I Thank you.
This is Angel Travis. Oh my goodness. Your music is just transitory. It just takes me, I don't even know where. Other than my whole spine lights up. Thank you. You can just feel that. Wow. Wow. My goodness. And she just puts it out there. And that's what it's about, is being able to put it out there and put that love out and put that spirit out and to be that place where the divine unfolds its expression. And so here we are at Seaside. We're going through the basic ideas of the science of mind as put forth by Ernest Holmes in his book, The Science of Mind, and the first 4 introductory chapters. And so the first chapter we looked at was the thing itself. That's God. That's the life force. It is the presence. It is the wisdom. It's that all animating something from which we all came. It is the first breath. It is the wisdom. It is the all. It's all of it, right? And then the next chapter was the way it works. And the way it works is it's done and choose you believe. You know, it's not like a revolutionary new concept. It's been around for a few millenniums. And so the way it works is it's done and choose you believe. It's called the law of cause and effect in a modern day vernacular. And what it does is it shows up in your life at really your mental equivalent. It shows up in your life manifesting in your world as a result of the consciousness that you had put forth and that you had laid out there. And so today is about the 4th chapter, the final one of the introductory, called How It Works. And how it works is being able to put all this together for a conscious intention to show up in your life in the manner in which you choose, in the manner in which you desire to have it work. And so Ernest Holmes starts this chapter on how to use it with saying that the great difficulty of the New Thought order is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice, because we can only know as much as we can prove through actual demonstration. You know, something may be true or may not, but if you can't prove it, you don't really know for sure if this is true. So what we want to do is prove it. He writes in the same page that anyone can go around saying there are no sick, but this isn't going to help those that are experiencing the appearance of sickness. Anyone can go around and say there are no needy, whether they be wise or otherwise, but this doesn't help the needy. We know these spiritual principles, but being able to demonstrate them in our lives and to take them to the street and say, you know what, use me, God. I'm going to be that place in which that wholly expresses itself in a way that is right and relevant and real. And Ernest isn't the only one saying that, hey, you know what, there's got to be more than just these words. One of our good buddies and Ernest's contemporary, Joel Goldsmith, wrote in his book, Man Does Not Cry, or Man Need Not Cry. He said that saying it's easy to say God is everything and there is no error. The difficulty is in demonstrating that. Anyone can say God is all there is. Anybody ever says, it's all good? Kind of flippantly. It's all good. It's all God. Yeah, right. But you know what? I'm in pain right now. I need to get out of this situation that is just strangling the life out of me. What I've got to do is begin to consciously use this power and this expression in my life to create the very something that I want to experience. And the way we do that is to get out of the I am trying to change something here. Because that's the little I. We want to get into the I am. We hear people talking about I am that which I am. I am that which is spirit expressing, and so that is the capital I. And when we are coming from the small I that is Christian or the flesh or the blood or the body or whatever it is, we have got to use our own mind and our power to try to change things. But if I can get into the great I am spirit expressing here and now, things can begin to change no matter what those things are. Got that? No matter what they are, no matter how big they are. We listened to Jamie stand up and say how she turned her life around. She's going to be speaking Wednesday night here doing the main thing. And Jamie, you know what? We got something for you. We not only want to just say we want to volunteer, we also have a gift for you too. And this is for your organization. We're just so grateful what you're doing here in town. It takes courage to look at the difficulty in your life and say, you have no power over me. Jesus, he's kind of famous for having done that a few times. But, one of the ones in my mind that comes to mind all the time when I'm looking at the biggies is when Pilate had him and said, hey, guy, man, I got your life in my hands. Talk to me. Talk to me. And he looks up and says, you got nothing in your hands. All the power that comes to you comes from God. You've got nothing in your hands. Can you look at the pilot in your life or the contamination or the constriction or what the doctor's prognosis or the tumor or the lack or the limitation or the challenge you find yourself in and look at it and say, you know what, you've got no power in my life. This is how you use this infinite power, is taking a look at the world of form and saying, you've got no power. Yes, you're a physical fact. Yes, this is going on. Yes, this is a difficulty in this realm of form. But you know what? I'm not this body. You know, God's Spirit is using this body and is walking through this life. And the power lies with God, not what's going on in this world. It's time to stop telling God how big your problems are and start telling your problems how big your God is that saying. Yeah. And so you get to say, okay, use me, God. But what happens is we get so caught up in doing our life, doing our days, doing whatever it is that begins to weigh heavy, and we believe who we are is this world of form. All of a sudden, we get stuck doing our life and doing our work and doing our stuff that at the end of the day, we're exhausted. All we can do is go to bed, catch our breath, and get up and do it again. And, maybe you make it to the weekend, and hopefully you do most times. And then you recharge and get going again. And, one of the things that I just find wonderful being here at the beach, particularly on summer days like today, it's like the Sunday afternoon that you go down to the beach. I can't get there till the afternoon because after here I'm spent. I nap, get a bite to eat, and then it's like afternoon. But, you watch people leaving, and, they got the glow. But there's also what I sometimes call the Sunday dread. It's like the weekend's over with, and now I got to deal with work. I got to deal with, what is out here. I got to figure out what I got to wear, what I got to deal with, my boss, and people, and all these things. And there's all of a sudden this deadening sense that comes upon them. That can't be good for you, particularly if you do that 5 out of 7 days a week. Right? It's like you want to be able to live with the zest and the joy. And I got to assure you, you've heard me say this, but I love my life. I love waking up in the morning. I wake up before the sun, and I figure the sun knows when to get up, and I beat it up every day. And I get up, I'm excited. If I get up by 5, I can go do my 5:30 yoga. I can take a look at the waves and be home in time enough to get Trevor ready for school. And that's just before my day even gets going. I love when that's complete, and then I get to come in and do Seaside, and who knows what's in store for me here. It's always something different, but it conjures up my creativity, my excitement, the creative juices, the desire to grow, to support, to help, to serve. And all this is how you use that Spirit. You get in this joyous place. You get in this place where Spirit is flowing through you and making a difference. Research tells you that those who love their work and love what they do in life, their body is stronger. It is more defensive against the influenza season. The body knows how to heal itself quicker. It says that one lives longer generally. Relationships are more beautiful. And you have wild and wonderful lovemaking. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it said that last part. I kind of threw that in there, but I'll bet it's true, but if it's not, well, now you have the time and the energy to take classes, so it can be for you. Well, what I just really want us to get is that when you are doing what it is you love, you become that vessel through which that life force moves. This is how you use it. You do what it is you love to do. You don't just suck it up and put in another day. You are born to be free. First page from this stuff I read you. Remember the first chapter 6 times. Ernest Holmes says our life should be one of freedom. That means it is joy to be able to go to the beach on Tuesday and not have to relegate it only to the weekends. You shouldn't have to ask somebody. You're a full-grown adult having to ask somebody if you can take a vacation or spend time with your family. Of course, if you're working with a group or a team, you want to be respectful and let people know. But, to be able to walk your dog in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon or a Tuesday morning when it's like this out and not feel as if you're wearing striped convict clothes and you got to get back and get into work before you get in trouble is not the way to go through this life. And how you use this presence is you bring it forth and bring forth the joy and the love of what it is you do into your life and into your world. And you do that with your creative expression. Spirit wants to express creatively through you. That's what Spirit does. Spirit creates. Spirit expresses. And if all you're doing is spending your time trying to hold on, whatever you're trying to hold on to, it's not about moving forward. You're holding on to, you're getting sucked backwards. It is what you're called to do, your dharma, your creative expression, your soul expression. What wants to emerge as you? What brings you joy if you were to wake up every day to do it? This is how you use this Spirit, is you allow yourself to be used. Of course, there's risk involved. Whoever said life didn't have risk, I don't know where that came from, but it is a creative, positive experience. It is far more fulfilling to step out and reach for something and feel the joy and know, well, you know what? There's a little risk. That's what life is about. You ever, have a child and raise that kid? There's a lot of risk in that. Or your first kiss, where that was, who knows, or how risky that was. Or let's say you've got this grass movement you want to do or be part of. There's risk there, but there's fulfillment. There is joy. There is contentment. It becomes that place in which that Spirit moves. Is it convenient? I don't know if it's convenient. But whoever said life is supposed to be convenient. Life is not like Amazon Prime shipping where it is quick, dependable, and convenient. Things just usually aren't like that. Maybe the pizza man, you can depend on him pretty quick. But other than that, life is about creative, taking the risk, becoming that vortex in which that infinite begins to take form in a new kind of way, letting go of what it is you've been holding on to or defending, and being that place where Spirit wants to express itself in a new and creative kind of way. It is the joy, it is the juice, it is the life force, it is something that it just activates every cell in your being. It moves you out of numbing and being dead. It awakens you to the greater possibility. We know that, right? Good. Now, we all hear in this message I'm carrying on about. Every week you guys hear me talk. Hundreds of people, we come together on a Sunday morning, talk about that. Thanks to the Crawfords and the wonderful work they do with their team, we got literally hundreds of people who watch this live streaming. And we know you're there, and we love you, and we just thank you for your support. And so hundreds listen to it. John Beethan gets this out to 90 different countries every week. Literally thousands of people listen to this message. I can't even tell you how many have bought my book. Not as many as I'd like, but where I'm getting at with all this is that a lot of people read the material, and some get it, and some don't. A lot of hear the spiritual principles. Some get it, some don't. Some want to talk about it, and if you want to practice circulation, you got to be involved with the giving and the sharing. You got to move beyond the conceptual. As Ernest said, the difficulty is too much theory, too little practice. We can talk about this, but the key here, between those who get the message and those who don't, and some relate to some and some don't relate to others. There's not a right or wrong with that, but the key to getting the message, why some are getting the same message, the same consciousness, I'm standing up here presenting it, and why some will get it and some don't, has to do with receptivity. Some are receptive to the impulse, to the message, to the consciousness of the possibility, and begin to arrange, hey, what can I do with this? How can it show up in my life? And it's as we begin to be receptive, the healing and the shifts begin to happen. I can see 6 to maybe 8 people in the course of a day and do prayer and counseling. My mom used to see 12 to 14 people a day. She did that for 30 years. And what I learned from her, and I begin to experience myself, and you can talk to the practitioners, I could meet those 6 or 8 people in the course of the same day with the same kind of consciousness, with the same level of integrity, with my spiritual connection and my awareness, and speak the prayer with the same kind of zest and power and alignment with the Spirit. And one person may have an instantaneous healing. I think that's pretty cool. I like that one. But a couple may have their healing expedite. It might move quicker. The healing. Doctors go, wow, those bones went back together instead of 6 weeks. It only took 2 or 3. And then there's a couple, nothing. It'll be a long, drawn-out healing process. They just go through the whole thing. And then maybe 1 or 2. Probably only 1. But might be someone who gets nothing out of it. And do you know what? It all has to do with one's receptivity. It has nothing to do with me. I'm clear with my integrity and my prayer. My job is to pray, to know the truth, to know the presence of God. All things are possible, including right here, right now. But is the individual receptive? See, your job as a spiritual practitioner is to know the truth, to speak the truth, to do your prayers, and let it fall where it may. It's not my job or your job to make anybody get it. It is a matter of being able to speak the truth and allowing it to move into the appropriate and proper places. And then it can show up in anybody's life at any time. It's not dependent upon situation. Oh, I'm in a bad situation. Well, I'm sorry, but you know what? You don't have to remain there. Just because it is a rough, unimaginable situation doesn't mean that you are stuck there. Jamie, wonderful example, not stuck. That there is an option, that there is a light, that there is God, that there is a greater possibility in our life. All your soul wants, all your spirit wants, longs for, is you. It doesn't want to be stifled by the conditions you're in. It wants you to be you. The great I, capital I am, wants to express through you. It is not bound by the effects of your world, whatever they are. There was a guy in his mid-80s, and he was as active, engaged, enthusiastic, happy, exercise, involved, and creative in life as anybody could be. There's this young guy watching this old guy just loving life, living up to the fullest. And he finally, got up the courage to ask, "Hey, old man, what's your secret? How old are you?" And he was surprised by his response when he said, "Young man, my age is none of my business." You notice? He didn't say, your business is my business. He stopped counting his years. Those were milestones on the calendar that made him think that he was getting older. So he just stopped that. That was no longer where his field of awareness went. His field of awareness went to this creativity, taking this risk, willing to express. How to use this spirit is to be that conduit through which spirit can express in a greater creative kind of expanding way in our life. And it's done unto us as we believe. That's how this thing works. Now, contrast, there's this other guy, not even anywhere near this other old guy's age, and someone saw in his garage a walker, and he wasn't using the walker, and he asked this guy, "What's the walker in your garage for?" And he said, "Oh, I got such a good deal on it, I had to buy it because who knows, I'm going to have to use it soon." Really? Is that the kind of consciousness you're going to want to live with? I'm going to be impaired, so I'm going to prepare now to buy my walker. This is, you hear so much about the power of positive thinking. Very few people talk about the power of negative thinking. It works the same way, guys. There was a reporter who was doing an interview with this Native American woman, and he just said, "Oh my, you're just so beautiful," which is probably harassment in today's era. But then it was okay. And she gave him a gorgeous smile, and she said, "Well, of course, I'm more than 75 years old." And it's like all of a sudden he got that for her, as she gained more years, she gained more experience, gained more wisdom, gained more love, gained more ways to be able to express herself, to support life. And her philosophy and belief that as the more trips around the sun, she had so much more to bring the world. And of course she became more beautiful, more gorgeous, her radiance and her smile and her eyes twinkled because she had so much more beauty inside of her now than she did 50 years ago that she could give to the world, that she could share with life. This is how you use it. You take that beauty that is within you, whatever it is you have, and you share that with the world. You begin to gift it to life around you. And as you begin to do this, you find yourself energized. But if you spend your life preparing to get old with your walker, or you're putting out a fire here, and you're putting out a fire there, and you're putting out a fire here, and you're putting out a fire, you can exhaust yourself. You don't have any more energy left to start a new fire, to start a new flame, to start a new passion in your world, which is why you want to create from your strength rather from your weakness. You want to create from the peak and the mountaintop as opposed from the valley and the fog of the heaviness of another dreaded Sunday. What you want to do is be able to spend more time connecting with that infinite power and that infinite life and that source of spirit. And it doesn't matter the place you are presently in. It doesn't matter what the condition of your body. It does not deny the infinite's potential to express fully in grand, creative, new kind of ways, but you got to be courageous enough to take that risk to be used by the infinite power that is waiting on you. So Ernest Holmes, as you know, our founder, and the book I'm talking from this week and the last couple of weeks is The Science of Mind, which has become our textbook, which he said, hey guys, this is not a revelation to me, but rather it's a compilation of the great revelations that have shown up in all the worlds. All he's done is drop the rules, the dogmas, the creeds, and all those things that may have been relevant in an era long gone. But the spiritual truth of your magnificence is here. It's done unto you as you believe, is what is here. And so anyway, from this chapter on how to use it, he talks about our prayer. And as you know, we have our jargon and our buzzwords for prayer. We call it affirmative prayer because, we don't beg and beseech God as if I really got something God doesn't have, so I'm going to make you a deal, God. Think about that one. It doesn't make sense. We have an affirmative approach. What we are is spirit expressing right here, the spiritual truth. We call it scientific prayer because there's a teachable method. Anybody can do it. You don't have to go to some intermediary to talk to something outside, but rather you are that expression of the divine. If God is infinite, then you are that. You're not all that, but you are that. So what we do is we raise our consciousness to that vibration and that level, and we speak the words of truth as if spirit is speaking. And so we call our prayer, like one goes to a medical doctor or a medical practitioner for a physical treatment. One goes to a spiritual practitioner for a spiritual mind. We operate in the realm of mind, of consciousness. We go to a spiritual practitioner for a spiritual mind treatment. And so Ernest tells us about that a little bit in this chapter on how to use it. And so he writes on page 58, as I said, for all you textbook-toed metaphysicians, paragraph 2, that treatment is a spiritual entity in the mental world and is equipped with the power and the volition. As much power and volition as there is faith in it. Given to it by the mind of the one using it and operating through the law. It knows exactly how to work and what methods to use and just how to use them. But we do not put the power into the word. But we do let the power of the law flow through it. The one who most completely believes in the power will produce the best results. This is the law of cause and effect. Wow. Cause and effect. That was before The Secret even. Ernest. Yeah. We don't put the power in the law, which is an aspect of God. That is the dependable. We talked about principle before. Gravity is going to work no matter who uses it. It doesn't matter large or small. The law is going to work. It's done unto you as you believe. The power is there. We don't put the power in it. So often people want to hold the power. They want to hold the perspective. They want to hold the idea. We don't put the power in there. We become that place through which that power flows. And I've got to be willing to risk to proclaim something greater than the experience I find myself stuck in or trapped in, because I'm coming from the small eye, my flesh, my body, my experience. Isn't this terrible? Yeah, that physical condition may be pretty bad. But that's not the truth of who you are. And you're not bound by that. Saw this wonderful article on YouTube. Actually, I heard it on the radio first. And so, but it is about this young man. He's now 21. He has Down syndrome. And after high school, there's an adult transition program. So you get another 3 or 4 years of public education. But he's 21, and he's stepping out of the adult transition program last year. And so his dad, like any dad, asks the kid when they're ready to graduate from school, so what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? Right? Now here's a kid who one may look at and realize, think he may not quite have the same options, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have options. And so he says, well, I like to eat. Let's do food trucks as a business. And Dad says, but neither one of us knows how to cook. Okay, so that worked. So what else do you like, son? His name's John. John Cornyn. John, what else? Well, I love my crazy socks. Let's sell crazy socks. I mean, I'd go, are you kidding me? But anyway, Dad says, great idea, son. And so what Dad does is he figures out, where to buy them. His son does a lot of the online activity. His son becomes the face of a new company called John's Crazy Socks. They open up in December of 2016. First year they sell 300 pairs. By a couple months they're selling 12,000 pairs. By March, these are the numbers I heard, were $300,000 they had made. At the end of their first year, they made $1.7 million selling socks on the internet. They now had to get a bigger warehouse to house the socks. They now have 21 employees, 8 of which are kids with special needs. 5% of their profits go to the Special Olympics, since John used to run in that, and that held a special place for him. They do socks specially for autism awareness, and they give a percentage there. They do another one for Down syndrome awareness, and their profits go there. They do it for animal rights, and they've got 6 different main lines that go directly from those sales to that. And here is a kid who was not bound, holding on to, I can't do that. But you go on Facebook and they have YouTube after YouTube after YouTube. He is the face of this company that is a multi-million-dollar business selling socks, when anything is possible, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. And so it's just invaluable for us to realize that we are at choice. How we use this is, Ernest says, through spiritual mind treatment. And there are many ways to pray. What matters is the heart and the soul, and not the words. But we have a definite style of prayer that we have called spiritual mind treatment. And there's 5 steps, which is why we call it scientific, because anybody can do it. You don't have to wait for the great lights to go on or the revelation to hit or to hit bottom. That even when life is going good, you can use your prayers. Like you pray without ceasing kind of thing. But the 5 steps that we are left in our style that Ginny taught this week on Saturday to a wonderful group here at Seaside. And actually, I'm teaching Tuesday night in class, so I'll do it real quickly for you. But the first step is recognition, right? So the first chapter, the thing itself, you recognize Spirit, God, that presence. Now, it all starts there. I mean, if you're not connecting with who's on the other side of this phone call, there's no conversation going on here. You want to recognize that presence, that life force, that intelligence, that wisdom, the abundance, the truth of my being, that innocence, that part that has never been violated or hurt, that part of me that is the true I am. You got to recognize that. That's where it all starts. You got a friend you haven't talked to for a few years. They call you up. Boom. You recognize their voice instantly on the line, don't you? Yes. 3 of you. Okay. Well, I trust you guys you talk to your friends more often. That's what it is. Anyway, you want to be able to connect with Spirit like that. Even if you haven't connected with that infinite recently, you want to be able to know what that feels like, sense. It's not words. We can't even define what this life force is. But what's essential is that we have a relationship and a feeling with it. So the first step is to recognize that, and recognize that it is infinite. If it is infinite, it is everything. That means you're part of that. I said that a little earlier. If it is infinite, you're part of that. Logically, right? Good. So that's what you do. The second step then is you unify with the infinite, the wisdom, the abundance, the truth, the joy, the life, all that which I just said a second ago. That's what you are. So you recognize it, and I am that. I'm that expressing right here. I'm not going to some saint, guru, or sage to talk to something outside me. I am that, declaring the truth in this moment. That's the affirmative kind of approach. I'm not asking for permission. I'm not saying I'm no better than the worm of the dust. I mean, whoever came up with that one, give me a break. It's like I am that which is. God expressing at the level of my awareness. It is done unto me as I believe. Grand I, God I, that means Spirit is speaking. There is a divine realization. That's the next step. The third step is the spiritual realization of the truth of the situation you're in. That's the meat of the prayer. You are realizing the spiritual truth of the situation that you're praying about. How does Spirit see it? Very simple. You just articulate that. You feel it. You sense it. And if Spirit spoke that, you'd be feeling pretty good, right? Which is the 4th step, right? First one is recognize Spirit, then you unify with it, you realize the spiritual truth, and then you're filled with gratitude. That's the 4th step. Thank you. Not thank you, God, because once again, you're putting it outside of yourself. It is living with a state of appreciation and gratitude for the unfoldment of this good in my life here and now. I'm not thanking anything outside. Nobody's giving me anything. I am claiming the truth of the situation right here. This is how you use it, at least from the science of mind perspective, and then you let it go. You know, if it's done, you don't hold on to it, right? You plant a seed in the ground, you let it grow, you don't dig it up. Hey, are you growing today? Oh, nope. Let me cover you up. Dig it up. Oh, are you growing today? Nope. No, you plant it in the law. You let it go. Spirit, take it away. Man, it's done. It's done. You let it go. And so as you begin to use it in a conscious kind of way, not a reactory kind of way, oh no, I'm in a tough situation, I got to react and pray and get Spirit to show up. No, I'm going to choose to bring forth Spirit, the highest level of my understanding, always in my day and in my life. I'm going to be that place where Spirit continues to shine. I'm going to shine in that. I'm going to give that. I'm going to be that. I'm going to radiate that. You know, that's the thing. You want more love in your life. You want more joy. You want more compassion. You want more forgiveness. You want more understanding. That's what you got to give life. Does that make sense? You know, you've got to be that which you want to experience. You want to be able to give that to the world. You don't want to withhold it from the world. You want to be able to give. All of nature gives. You know that, don't you? I mean, you walk along the beach. It's just the waves and the light and the beauty of giving. Wednesday night, we got a super blue blood moon. It happens only, I don't know, they say once in a blue moon. No. Rarer than that. You know, it has to do with the supermoon's closest to the earth, and the red comes from the eclipse, and blue because it's twice a month, whatever. But what I'm getting at, I'm getting carried away, is that it's there for you to enjoy. It's beautiful. It's spectacular. It is nature. It is God. It is transitory. It can be a holy experience. I am the beauty that God is because I am losing myself in this moment of the beauty that nature is offering me. It isn't withholding, say, hey, Christian, you can't have it, but they can. It gives, it shares. And if you want to experience the holiness of the great I am, then you are the one who has to become receptive to the ever availability of the infinite offerings that want to particularize its gift as your very life. How does that sound for you? God bless you as you make it true for you. I love you. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring back to the stage the wonderful Angel.
Increvo diaboleas arsura Vadam Dio, Eros quod sum, Looking outside and looking in, closing false doors and false windows, leaning into breath. I pray in the silence. I feel you deeply. Naked and awake, I am yours completely, waiting in sweet surrender. searching others, looking to find you. We're always skipping over the pain. Oh, the pain's illusion. You see, it comes around. It comes around and around, right back at you, showing you, teaching you what you need to know, until you listen, oh, until you surrender.
That is Angel Travis. That was beautiful. Oh my, you are sanctified. I am. Woo. Yes, transitory. Not, yes, my goodness. It just takes you somewhere else.